My name is Elizabeth, and I am the affirmative side for modifying the third strike rule. First, I want to talk about how the third strike rule completely ignores the specificity of the individual. The Legislative and Analyst Office of California states that most of these legal and technical issues are relatively specific in nature. In some cases, resolution of the issue will not have a major impact on the implementation of the measure, while in other cases it will. So that's basically saying that the three strikes rule is effective for some people and it's ineffective for other people. So going through a lot of the research, I found that there was really no consensus on, like, a definitive consensus on whether the three strikes rule, as it is now, is an effective way to keep violent repeat offenders in prison. That leads me to my next point, that the three strikes rule is unjust in certain circumstances. The same sources before the Legislative Analyst's Office sent a report in 1995, so this was a year after the law was put into place, that during the first 8 months of implementation, about 70% of second and third strikes are for non-violent and non-serious offenses. So even after a year after this law was put out, officials were recognizing that it wasn't good for everybody because non-violent and non-serious offenders, it's not right for them to be put on the same level as people who are doing violent offenses. My next point is that the sort of point of view from a judge, it's too difficult for a judge to understand what a 25-year sentence to life means for an individual, especially somebody who gets put into place by a non-violent or non-serious crime. I actually have a quote from the judge who put a man, William Taylor. At age 27, Taylor had about 1/10 of an amount of, like, a sugar packet. You guys know how big a sugar packet is? It's like, holds about a gram of sugar. So he had 1/10 of that of methamphetamines on him, and since he had 2 prior convictions at age 19 for small petty burglaries, he received 25 years to life. And now, 15 years after, the prosecuting attorney and sentencing judge say that they made a mistake and that 25 years is way too much time for this individual man. So that brings me back to the points I said earlier, that the three strikes law is too broad when it includes all felonies for to qualify for the 25-year to life sentencing on the third strike. I also wanted to point out from a more national point of view that it's sort of ridiculous that California is the only state that has a law that's capable of sentencing somebody for life for a crime as small as a misdemeanor. And I don't know how many of you have misdemeanors out there, but I have one. And I just gave a police officer the wrong, a fake name, and that's a misdemeanor. So somebody can be put into jail for 25 years to life for just telling a police officer, for something as, just an example, for something small as telling a police officer a fake name. Bazelon Emily, she's a writer for the New York Times, and she's also a consulate for the New York PD forensics unit. And she notes that 25 other states have passed the three strike laws, but only California punishes minor crimes with the penalty of a life sentence. So that further backs up my point that it's just too severe for some cases, especially the non-violent and non-serious cases. This isn't to say that these people should not be punished. I want to keep that in mind, that if you commit a crime, it's still against the law. It's just that it should be up to precedences put in by prior cases that are equal to that crime. So everything's on the same playing field as far as like severity. It turns out that the third strike rule isn't really that good of a deterrent after the second conviction. Another little tidbit from the Legislative Analyst's Office of California says that the overall crime rate in California, as measured by the Department of Justice's California Crime Index, began declining before the three strikes law was put into place. In fact, it has risen 11% since 1999, and this article was written in 2005, so that was statistics only for 1999 to 2005. And it's important to note that these reductions appear to be part of a national trend of falling crime rates. So this is just taking a little bit of the decline of crime off of three strikes law and placing it on a national trend. So a national trend can be anything from like what's a cool handbag to crime not being cool anymore. So it's just, it takes off the gravity of the three strike law and its effect on people's decisions to make violent and serious crimes. The three strikes law doesn't actually prevent felonies from occurring. It just keeps repeat offenders in prison. Frank Zimring of UC Berkeley suggests that strikers are a term for the people who are put into prison because of the three strikes law, as a group commit a relatively small amount, about 11%, the state's total number of felonies. So there are still people who are getting their first strikes all over the place and or second strikes even, but not getting to the third strike. So this law is only for like a very small amount of people, and still not addressing the overall felonies around California. And sum it up, three strikes law is too severe at the time, and the third strike needs to be modified.